Hey friends, this is Marilyn from tarotclarity.com, and not too long ago I received 2 decks from our friends over at Artisan Tarot called Telepatha cards. Now these Telepatha cards seem very similar in nature to the ones that they had about a year or 2 ago, which were ESP cards. Both of these sets of cards are recreations or restorations of original decks. The ESP cards came from 37, and the Telepatha cards, originally created by a fella named Harry Price, were created in 1939. And the reason that these decks appealed to me, or caught my interest, was because as a kid, my dad was a hypnotist. I mean, he had a professional job, but his passion, like mine is tarot, his was hypnotism. So he was a professional hypnotist, and he did a lot of work and research on ESP at the time. It was something that was talked about a lot, and I seem to have been the kid in the family that seemed to have extra perception, as they called it in those days. So my dad would set me up across from the dining room table and, take a card and lay it on the table, and then have me send me a vibe, right? And of whatever color it was or whatever shape it was, depending on if the card was in color or if it was black and white. And then for me to receive, and we actually seemed to have a connection. And a lot of the time, I mean, it was uncanny how I was able to determine either the color or the shape of the cards when we did it. Now, my memory of the cards from my dad were these, the ESP cards. But these Telepatha cards, which Artisan has now come out with, are also very interesting. One is just black and white, so black images on a white field. And then the second one, the cards are colorful. Simple designs, red dot, yellow moon, blue X, green triangle, blue equal sign, or whatever. And I would suggest, the way I recall my dad would do it, is we'd sit across the table from one another, the dining room table, and my father would pick a card, look at it, so he would know that this is a blue equal sign, for example. And he would just tell me to take my time, and we both take our time, and he'd tell me when he was ready to send it to me. And, I would tell him whether, whatever impression I got, whether it was lines, straight lines, or color. And the more we did it, the more we were both better at, the more adept we were at sending and receiving the information. And this is a really fun activity, even if there's like no positive results, or even if there's more misses than hits. I remember we took these on camping trips. We used to camp in tents in those days. And we had a lot of rainy days, and we played a lot of cards in those days during the rainy days in the tent. And one of the activities would be to play this. And it was a lot of fun. And it not only is it fun to try to engage your mind in this kind of discipline, but it also opened doors to lots of conversations. So if you have kids, especially preteens and teenagers, I really think that this is a novel thing for them. And based on how I enjoyed doing it with my dad, it might be a real fun activity to do with your kids, or just to do with friends. If you don't have kids, you don't have to have kids to have a good time with people. Anyway, I thought I would share these because they meant something special to me in my early development, and understanding who I was and stuff like that. And I'd like to try doing them again, maybe with my grandbabies, to see what results I could get, and if I could get any kind of results with them sitting still for 5 minutes and asking them, if, I guess they have to wait until they're a little bit older, but I'm really looking forward to trying these activities out with my grandbabies. Until next time, friends, peace and stay well.